Tonight on Connecticut's news station, on and off storms causing flash flooding across the state, which communities are still working to get dry.
And we're looking ahead to Hurricane Lee, the latest in what we're thinking for impacts here at home coming up.
As one officer celebrates getting out of the hospital after a crash, his brothers and sisters in blue and the Hartford community are coming together to remember an officer who won't be coming home. We'll take you to tonight's emotional vigil.
And a new push to make sure everyone in the capital city has access to fresh food. How lawmakers and community advocates are working to rectify a food desert.
Now at 10, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
And we begin tonight on the Weather Watch. The state still in recovery after strong storms barreled through Connecticut today. Thanks for joining us for the news at 11 or at 10. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. Heavy downpours proved to be too much for many communities to handle today. Roads were flooded, leaving drivers stranded trying to get to work this morning. Yeah, the roads were rivers. More rain throughout the day made things even worse, with streams and rivers surging. Yeah,
high winds were a factor today as well. In fact, we may even be looking at a tornado touchdown in Connecticut's Quiet Corner. State officials were in Killingly today surveying the damage. And let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank. And Rach, let's start right there. You've been following the storms all day. Is there any indication right now whether Killingly actually saw a tornado?
Not officially, but we think a tornado did touch down based on looking at the pictures that you guys just showed and comparing it to the radar here. Clearly something big went down here. Thank you so much to Austin Rebello for sharing these photos with us. We also called around Killingly to ask if there was any damage done to homes or businesses, and thankfully there wasn't. Nobody was hurt, so that is the good news here. We were following that rotation moving through Windham County, and eventually it continued into Rhode Island, and it also left a path of damage in that same exact area. Again, all going to show what the National Weather Service will continue to look at tomorrow. But again, it does look like there's evidence that a tornado touched down. We'll find out the official details tomorrow. Of course, there are still some showers out there. Nothing near what we dealt with earlier today, which was just wild. The heavy rain coming down at just unimaginable rates. So much thunder and lightning. It was loud. We still have a leftover shower from Stores down through Manchester, and we have some showers right now around Hamden and also Durham too. But this is about it. These showers are going to become less and less frequent as we head through the overnight hours. And this is all from a cold front that's going to bring us some really big changes. By the time you wake up in the morning, September's back. We're talking about low humidity, cooler temperatures, lots of sunshine tomorrow, and highs in the 70s. But of course, we're also taking a look ahead to Hurricane Lee. It looks like for us, just kind of some of the brief points that will be a relatively minimal impact for us. We will see gusts 30 to 40 miles per hour. Some outages are possible, but likely isolated in nature. And there could be some showers depending on where you live. We'll take a closer look coming up.
All right, Rachel, thank you. The Hartford police officer injured in a crash last week was released from the hospital today.
People are coming together tonight to remember the officer, Bobby Garton, who was killed in that crash.
Fox 61's Gabby Molina is live at the Hartford Police Department with more tonight. Gabby.
Brent and Sarah, the memorial here outside of the Hartford Police Department just keeps growing. And tonight, exactly 1 week after that crash, the community came together here to show its support for the police department.
It is truly inspirational to see how our community is holding us up in our time of need.
Right outside of Hartford Police Chief Jason Thody's office window sits a police cruiser covered in flowers in memory of Detective Robert Bobby Garton.
I mean, it's been an honor to be there, but it's been hard to be there. You can't even see the car anymore.
Over the last week, people from all over the state have come to pay their respects to the fallen hero. And on Wednesday, to stand side by side with the department in remembering Garton.
And we just wanted to come out and let his family know, and him know, and the police department know that we're here to support them.
Reverend Henry Brown leads the group Mothers United Against Violence. They typically host vigils for the community in the wake of violence in the city, but Brown says it was just as important to do the same now, this time for the police department.
We do vigils for everything else, but if we can't do it for our heroes, then we can't do it for nobody. They're here to protect the serve, and we just want to give something.
Offering a chance for current and former members of the Hartford Police to share their memories.
We talk about community policing,
he epitomized that because he was part of the community into the fabric and took after his father. He was committed to what he did. He loved, he had a passion for it.
As the department prepares to say its final goodbye, they'll be doing so with Officer Brian Kearney. He was released from the hospital Wednesday after being injured in the crash that took Garden's life. Greeted by his law enforcement family as his road to recovery continues.
He was focused on two things. One, making sure that we were taking care of his brothers and sisters here at the police department and the family, and two, getting well enough to go to the funeral. So.
Garden's wake will be held this Friday at Duncan Park from 2 to 7 p.m. That is open to the public. And then a celebration of life will also be held at the XL Center on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Live in Hartford, Gabby Molina, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, another very emotional day. Gabby, thank you. Now, to reiterate, Detective Garden's wake will take place at Duncan Park on Friday from 2 to 7 p.m. And a funeral service is scheduled at the XL Center at 10 a.m., followed by a private burial. Now, Wethersfield Police releasing a traffic advisory now for several roads that will have to be closed on Saturday due to the procession for Detective Garden. And that includes parts of Main Street, Marsh Street, Hartford Avenue, Broad Street, State Street, and part of Silas Deane Highway. The roads will be closed between 11 a.m. and 4 p.m.
New here at 10, a Meriden man could spend 20 years in prison. Anthony Lazzari pleaded guilty to child pornography and exploitation charges. He was first arrested in November of 2021. Police say they found evidence of abuse against 3 different teenage girls. According to court records, Lazzari provided cash and drugs to the girls in exchange for sexual acts. He's scheduled for sentencing in November.
And a former aide with the Department of Children and Families is under arrest, accused of inappropriately texting and sending photos to a 15-year-old client. 40-year-old Eliezer Rijos turned himself into police Tuesday. Police say the inappropriate messaging happened last year between July and September. Rijos is accused of using his work phone to send those messages. He resigned last week from the department after officials showed him pictures of the alleged text messages from the victim's uncle. Well, Vanessa Durantis, Connecticut's DCF commissioner, released a statement on the arrest saying, quote, "I find this alleged behavior by this former employee to be egregious and reprehensible and should be addressed to the fullest extent of the law. No child or youth should be subjected to or victimized by this type of behavior."
State police want to talk to witnesses who saw a crash in Cromwell. That crash is now being linked to a death of a toddler they're calling suspicious. It happened Monday. Police say a woman behind the wheel of a Hyundai rear-ended another car. She then crashed into a guardrail on Route 9 near exit 25. The woman left the scene with her daughter and walked down an embankment near the highway. 2 hours later, officials found the woman walking along Route 9 North without her daughter. Police say the 2-year-old was found near the Connecticut River and was pronounced dead at the hospital. Anyone who may have witnessed the crash should call police.
5 former New Haven police officers arrested in the Randy Cox case are trying to have their charges wiped away now. All 5 applied for accelerated rehab to get their misdemeanor charges dismissed. Last year, Cox was in police custody in a police van when it stopped suddenly, and he slid forward, slamming his head into the wall of that van. Cox was paralyzed from the chest down. The van was found to have no seatbelts or restraints. 4 of the 5 were fired from the New Haven Police Department following an investigation into the injuries that Randy Cox suffered in the back of that police van. The 5th officer had retired before discipline could be handed down. Right now, the city of Hartford is hoping to address the need for a full-service grocery store in the city's north end.
City councilors are voting on a resolution to get that process started. Fox 61's Jake Garcia joins us in studio with more on what's being done and why having a full grocery store is such a big deal. Jake.
Well, Bryn, Sarah, city councilors passed that resolution to begin a study on how much money the city would need to operate a grocery store in the city's north end, something residents say is long overdue.
It's definitely needed, highly needed, yes.
Residents in Hartford's North End say a grocery store in their area would make a world of difference, and city leaders agree.
The best, most sustainable long-term way to provide access to fresh, healthy foods is with a large grocery store operator that can operate at scale and make it work and make it sustainable. But we're happy to explore any and all options. It's important to make sure that everybody in our community's got access to healthy, fresh foods.
The number of grocery stores in the city of Hartford has decreased over the years. In the 60s, the capital city had over a dozen chain-owned supermarkets. Now there's only one in city limits, a Stop and Shop on the city's west side. That's according to the Healthy Hartford's Community Action Task Force, leaving residents to go further for groceries.
If you don't have transportation, then you cannot get an affordable priced groceries to make a meal.
It's something Pauline Elder August knows well.
My friend gave me a ride down here so that I don't have to keep asking her every 2 minutes during the month to come take me, So we're getting enough so that we don't have to keep asking her to take us.
And it's just one part of the solution. It's not the total solution.
Hartford City Councilor Tiana Hercules hopes this issue becomes a thing of the past.
This shouldn't be something that we are discussing in 2023 in one of the wealthiest states in the country, that we have one of the most deprived cities in neighborhoods facing food insecurity, something as basic as food, which it really is a basic human right. It's not a luxury. It shouldn't be deemed as a luxury to have access to quality food.
Now, this is not the city's first attempt of having a full-service grocery store, but hopes by putting their money where their mouth is that this time will be different. The city is expected to get an estimate on how much money would be needed to make this a reality by early next spring. In studio, Jake Garcia, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.